وحقق إذا رمت شيئا ولا تسمن بوهمك ذات الورم.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The 16th worry that the Shaykh mentioned is هموم إصلاح الذرية, the worry of rectifying and nurturing the offspring. Really, when after a person gets married, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if He wills, He blesses a couple with children. So students of knowledge, especially knowing what the ulama have mentioned, that many of the people of knowledge, because they are busy with knowledge, they sometimes neglect the children. And especially a person living in the West, then there's a lot of worry regarding the rectification of children, how to look after children, and to make sure that the offspring become a pious offspring. And when a person isn't able to correctly take care of this worry, then either there's a deficiency in his own or her own seeking of knowledge, or there's a deficiency in the offspring. And this issue is not something which is difficult. Rather, as Shaykh Usaymī said, وَالْخَطْبُ يَسِيرٌ لِأَنَّ الْمُعِينَ قَدِيرٌ, that addressing this is easy because the one who is helping is all-powerful, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there's a number of points that the Shaykh has mentioned in how to remove this grief. The first is, when getting married, is to choose an appropriate spouse, somebody who is appropriate to be the mother of your children. And I would just like to add that a lot of the time, a lot of youngsters do come and they say, I found, maybe this sister or this brother that I want to marry, and I'm in love, or whatever the case may be. One question which I always ask is, would you be happy for this spouse, this brother or sister, to be the mother of your children? And that's always a question that gets them thinking. And likewise, if you want to marry, this is something that you have to take into consideration. That not only are you happy with that person, but are you also happy for them to be the mother or father of your children. The second point is to constantly make dua for them, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes them righteous. And the du'as are many in the Quran. You find the prophets making this dua. Ibrahim alayhi salam, he says, رَبِّ اجْعَلْنِي مَقِيمَ صَلَاتِي وَمِنْ ذُرِّيَّتِي, Oh Allah, make me from those who establish the salah and also my offspring. And likewise, رَبَّنَا هَبْ لَنَا مِنْ أَزْوَاجِنَا وَذُرِّيَّاتِنَا قُرَّةَ أَعْيُنٍ, Oh Allah, grant us from our wives and our offspring those who are قُرَّةَ أَعْيُنٍ, those who are the coolness of our eyes. وَجَعَلْنَا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ إِمَامًا, and make us an imam in the religion. The next point is, even when they are young, to take them to gatherings of knowledge and get them used to the gatherings of knowledge. And this is something that the Salaf would do. They will take their children to gatherings of knowledge, and their children at a young age would attain ijazat in hadith and so on. The fourth is to make them love knowledge, which is, it could connect to the previous point, but also by any other speech or action or any other thing to make them love knowledge. The fifth point is to try and choose a mu'addib, somebody who will discipline them if you can. And most of the time, in our case, it would be to send them to a masjid or a madrasa where they can have a Quran teacher or a general teacher or a sheikh, whoever it may be, who is more stricter and focusing more on the nurturing, the memorization of the Quran, the Islamic knowledge, and so on. And I would add to this, but this is on top of the fact that you are also teaching them as well. And like the ulama mentioned, make sure that you are the first one to teach your child Surah Fatiha, because then you'll get the reward for that for the rest of your life, because for the rest of their lives, because they'll be reciting Surah Fatiha a minimum of 17 times a day. But on top of that, then if you can find somebody else, that is also something good. The sixth point the Shaykh mentions is keeping an eye on their behavior, not only in the house but also outside of the house, so that you know what issues and what deficiencies they have, so that you can address them. The seventh point the Shaykh mentions is buying pens, stationery, books for them, so that they are motivated to use them and read those books when they are younger, but also those books that they can use now, and to place them in the maktaba, the library or the workspace place that you also study, so that it motivates them to be like their father or their mother. The 8th point is that once they get a little bit older, to try to send them by themselves, not to force them, but try to make them go to the gatherings of knowledge and make that something that they feel is natural and becomes a habit for them to attend these type of gatherings. And the 9th point is to stop them from all doors of evil, whether it is bad companionship or whoever it may be. And I want to add here that when we say companionship, back in the day it was who they were meeting on the streets or at school or whoever it may be. But now we can add even the mobile phone to make sure that on all of these different apps they are not talking to maybe the opposite gender or falling into haram, listening to haram, looking at haram, and so on. Because even though they are in the house, they can easily access the rest outside of the house, i.e. the rest of the world, just by their mobile phones.